This is Balanced Life, and I am your host, JD Taylor. Thank you again for taking time out to join me today. Houston is a beautiful day today. It's not hot for a change. We're having beautiful weather, so we can relax and enjoy our day. I'm bringing to you today um, a review of what we talked about um, on last Friday. I talked about sibling rivalry. Sibling rivalry. Prior to that, it was the first family where I talked about Adam and Eve, because that's where it all starts, with Adam and Eve. And once Adam and Eve was removed from the garden, they had children. They had two sons, Cain and Abel. And we talked about Cain and Abel. Now, the thing is with Adam and Eve, the Bible doesn't talk about the relationship they had with their children, with their sons. If there was any emotions or communication or anything like that, we just know they had children, Cain and Abel. We know Cain was a farmer and Abel was a shepherd. We know that both gave a gift, a sacrifice to the Lord. God accepted Abel's, but he didn't accept Cain. The Bible doesn't explain exactly why, but I think it could have been the emotion behind it. Whereas Abel, and this is me thinking, Abel was excited and full of joy when he gave his sacrifice, because he put thought in that. You know, he had to slaughter a lamb, the firstborn, to present to God. Whereas with Cain, all he had to do was just go out and pick a few bits of fruit and bring it to. There was no thought behind that. And then he did it because this is something to do, and God didn't appreciate that. There's a difference. Even when we give, we want to give from our heart, and not just because it's something to do, or not just because we were told to give. We should be, eager to give. Um, that's an emotion that we should be proud of, because and not giving to expect anything back, but just giving because we have it to give and God blessed us with it. And technically what we're doing is giving him back what he already owned anyway. mm. um as I said, the reason for God's decision wasn't clearly stated, but it really kind of ticked Cain off to the point where uh, it expressed his jealousy, his anger, to the point where the first murder was committed when Cain killed his brother Abel. As far as what's documented in the Bible, that's the first murder. The first murder. I just think when creation started, it started out with murder. And how was that? Because of what their mother and father did. We got to look at, and I get off into that later on, we got to look at a lot of things that transpire, a lot of things that happen could extend from the sins of our mother and father, or the sins of the father. We really need to think about that. Look back. There's a root to everything. There's a foundation and there's a root to everything that goes on in our life. Like, oh my goodness, it's really something to consider and think about. Sibling rivalry and tragedy. Of course, we talked about Cain killing Abel. Cain's reaction, instead of repenting and uh, improving what he did or what he didn't do or the way he did it, uh, he reacted negatively. He let his anger and jealousy get the best of him, and God warned him. He warned him. He said, "Okay, now sin is right there at the door. Don't you know? Don't do it. I'm warning you." God gave Cain a second chance to do it right, get it right. Like, come on, recognize what's going on, and I still want to accept what you offer me, but you got to do better. And instead of Cain following that, he didn't want to do that. It just made him angry. He didn't, there was no remorse for what he did. He did it, and that was it. He let his anger and frustration get the best of him, and his arrogance. When God confronted Cain, uh, he denies responsibility, because God knew what he had done. And when he asked him, about it, he said, "I'm not my brother's keeper." Oh, okay. Okay. So God punished him by cursing the ground and making him a wanderer, because he was a tiller of the ground. So if God cursed the ground, that means it was going to be hard for him to do what he do as far as growing things and harvesting and all that. Um, and through that, when God cursed the land, or cursed the ground, and he sent him out of the garden, sent him away as a wanderer, not any particular place, just get out of here. Um, Cain was concerned. He was concerned about that. He said, if people see me and knowing what I've done, um, they will kill me. They'll, will attack me. So, okay, now you're in fear. You're in fear of your life, but you didn't think about your brother's life, who you killed for nothing, just because his offering was better than yours. Come on. So what God did, giving him another chance, sparing his life, even though he was punished and judged by God, he put a mark on Cain. That way, whoever he come in contact with will know that he is covered by God, and they can't do anything with him, to him, because if they did, then they got to deal with God. So, we got to take in consideration what make us angry, what frustrates us about our parents, about our siblings, about any relative, mother, father, sister, brother, grandparent, cousin, aunt, uncle, whatever it is. What is it that frustrates us about that particular person? We need to have conversations. We need to have communication. You need to express at the moment anything happens, or whatever happens, whatever is done, whatever is said. Um, we need to attack it head on. We need to approach it head on. Like, okay, why, if this makes you upset, then okay, let's talk about it. Because maybe that person was totally unaware of what they were doing, or how they said it, or what. And it didn't have to be in a malicious way that they did what they did. But unless you communicate with them and let them know what they did is wrong, and how it affected you and how it made you feel, how do they know how to correct it? Communication is the best thing. The best thing. Uh, we need to look at all situations that happen in our lives, especially when it's dealing with family. Don't you know that family is the most important thing to God? And why is that? That was the very first thing that he created, was family. even though it didn't turn out the way he wanted it to, the way he expected to, still family. It's still family. And that blood that runs through our veins, the same blood that brings us together, our DNA, that they can check my mom's DNA and check mine and tell that we are one. We are close. And the same thing with siblings and the father and even cousins. You know, twins have the same DNA. So it's so very, very important that we get this family thing right. We got to get it right. How does the relationship between Cain and Abel affects our siblings today? Now, when I said earlier about getting the family thing right, don't get me wrong, there are some family members, doesn't matter whether it's a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a cousin, an aunt or uncle, or even a grandparent. If they did something that really hurt you to the core or cause you pain or cause you anger, whatever you may have to just, you know, deal with them from afar or don't deal with them at all. That situation may be above your pay grade when it comes to dealing with that particular situation or that particular family member or members, but it's not above your prayer grade. You pray for them, forgive them, and pray for them, and let them move on. But if you cut off a family member, mother, father, sister, brother, cousin, aunt, uncle, it better be for a good reason. It need to be for a good reason, because guess what? God knows everything. He knows everything. He know every reason behind what you do. And he's giving you time. And who knows, maybe this topic, these topics that I'm talking about may be a conversation for you to, well, not maybe, it is a conversation for you to have with your loved ones. But at the same time, it might be telling somebody out there, you need to get it right. Whatever you holding back, whatever you done stop, cut off, or whoever, it better be um it better be justifiable. Because if it's not justifiable, somebody's going to be held accountable. And it's not going to be the people that you've done it to. It's going to be you. You need to get it right. You need to come together, because there's power in the blood. There's power in family. And as I said before, some family members you can't deal with. But if you can't deal with them, you better have a justifiable reason why you can't deal with them, and not because of what somebody else said or did that drug you in or pulled you in. And now you got to react because you don't want that family member to not speak to you or cross you off their list. And God deal with that too. Come on. Come on now. Come on. Jealousy and comparison. Now we're talking about how relationships between Cain and Abel affects the siblings. Cain becomes jealous when God favors Abel. And this, in the modern day, siblings today often feel compared by parents, teachers, and society in terms of looks, success, intelligence, or behavior. They can lead to deep resentment if not addressed. Now, Before I move further, because this is going to get into my topic today, is the parent trap. The parent trap. How do we as parents get trapped in the middle of our children's rivalry? Okay. Is it something we can avoid? How do we get into it? And can we get out of it? And how can we avoid it? Okay. When teachers and parents begin to compare siblings, say say a teacher, for example, say this particular teacher had the oldest son or daughter in their class who was superb, who was an excellent student, an A student. And then 2, 3 years later, they get the younger sibling, and that sibling don't necessarily have to be a troublemaker, but not quite as, is not an academically, is not really good in that particular subject. Academically inclined, I would say, in that particular subject. The other sibling was an A student, straight A's. This student is a C student, borderline D. And then as a teacher, you tell them, oh, your sister or your brother was an A student, and what happened to you, and you should do better, and I know you could do better, and why don't you talk to your, what do you think that would do to that child? That has been done, and it's being done as I speak now in schools, where teachers are comparing siblings, and not necessarily siblings, they could be cousins. That's not a good, that's a start, especially young students, young children, the ones that are in first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth, on up to high school. Even high school, well, junior high school students, you hear that. That's not good. And it causes that child to be resentful toward their sibling. They may feel overshadowed. And they may harvest or breed a quiet hostility by not saying anything, but they hold this animosity against their sibling. Yeah, that's happening. That's happening. Take it in consideration. Cain craved divine approval and felt rejected. Children may compete for parental attention and validation, which can lead to a strain in the relationship they have with their parents and with their siblings. There's a battle between who's the favorite, and who does the parent like more. And as a parent, you love your children equally. You should. You love them equally, not realizing that how you react toward one is being watched by the other. Now, your reaction to that one may be because that particular child maybe need a little more attention than the other child. But that child doesn't know that. They don't realize that. And when that situation comes about, for one thing, that child that feels rejected may not say anything, or they may say, well, you care more about him or her than you care about me. The moment they say that, that's your time to halt, stop, get everybody together, let's sit down and talk. That's what's important. That's what you do, rather than, oh, that's not right. That's not true. That's not true. I love you too. But you're not showing that. You're not showing that. Explain that. You got to explain it to and have both together so they can understand why you do what you do. Because if you have more than one child, and I said this last week, if you have more than one child, each one has a different personality. They're not all going to be the same. And you have to, as a parent, whether it's a mother and father in the household or just a mother or just a father, you got to realize that all your children are different. And you have to communicate with them according to their personality. And at the same time, you got to come together and let them know this is why I do this for this one and not this for this one, and get them to understand. And who knows, with more than one child, they'll all begin to help each other in that area that they need or they're lacking. But until you come together and understand and bring them together, because you're the parent, that's what causes animosity and anger and jealousy and rage sometimes. It may not go as far as what Cain did to Abel, but just taking that sibling, that sister, that brother, that cousin, or whatever, and just said, I'm going to block you. I'm going to block you from Instagram, from Facebook, from family chat, from my phone, from everything connected to me. I'm blocking you. Okay. But I need to know why. Why cut off the communication? And if you feel you have a reason to cut off the communication, then communicate and let that person know. Because for me, if you cut me off, okay, fine. I would like to know in detail why, but okay, it's not a good feeling. But in the way things are today, if I'm cut off from family, from Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, all them other things, I don't care. I don't care. Because I want to use those platforms like I'm doing right now, and not to air out my dirty laundry, not to snap back to family members on the channel. What are you hiding from me? I don't care. These are what some parents, how you should feel. Don't let sibling stress, sibling rivalry cause you to lose your focus as a parent. Because at this point, I would look at it as, okay, that's above my pay grade, but it's not above my prayer grade. That's my saying. That's my saying. I thought about that months ago. I said, you know what? Wait a minute. They're always talking about when you talking to a business person, and you ask them a question, and they'll say, whether you're at the bank or talking to a collector or whatever on the phone, and you ask them a question, they say, oh, well, that's above my pay grade, which means they don't have that authority to answer that question. You'd have to go to somebody higher than them. Okay, so situations beyond my control that I don't have control over, I found to be, oh, that's above my pay grade. I can't change that. I can't do anything about that. But it's not above my prayer grade. I can always go to God and pray about situations. Think about that. Think about it. Because he will lead you, because it's all about the heart. It's all about the heart. seeking approval, um, could be a strain on the relationship, like I was saying. But conflict, um, Cain didn't express his feelings and he didn't seek reconciliation. He just lashed out. And that's what I'm talking about right now. When siblings don't learn healthy ways to manage conflict, it can escalate into long term estrangement or emotional harm. Mm. When you don't deal with it, it's a health, it becomes a health issue, because there are healthy ways to approach conflict. It's healthy ways to approach um, being distant or feeling unimportant or irrelevant. There's healthy ways to approach that. And the way to approach it is having a conversation. Having a conversation with those that that's involved. Mm. Jealousy is the worst thing that you could ever hold in your heart. Jealousy. Why? When you look at, and I've experienced this to a degree where uh years ago, where you see someone that's jealous of another person, and you look at the person that's feeling the jealousy, and then you look at the person that they're jealous of, and it's like, why? Why? And I even asked that question, why are you, it seems as though you're jealous of them. Why? This person is working, have a home, have a car, money in the bank, don't have to worry about anything. And this person is single as well, but don't have a job, have multiple kids, trying to make ends meet, making ends meet, struggling to make ends meet, but and keeping food on the table, and lights on and water on and gas in the car. What is the jealousy about? I'm still trying to figure that one out. And that's been decades ago. It's a sin. It's a sin. And this person is going on. Has blessed this person. And this person, I would say, is right where they were when they expressed their jealousy. Because they never corrected it, forgave themselves for feeling that way. It's like, that's how I feel, and that's it. So there's repercussions and consequences behind a jealous spirit. That's a spirit, that jealousy. The first will come last, and the last will become first. The one you're jealous of, they're trusting God for everything that they have. And the one that's doing the jealousy is just taking for granted, hey, I got a job. That's why I get and have what I have. Then there's no reason for you to be jealous of anyone. But that's it. That's it. The parent trap. How can parents get trapped between their children's rivalry? Being forced to take sides. Being forced to take sides. Each child tries to pull the parent onto their team to prove they're right or more deserving of whatever. is going on. For example, they may say, you always believe them. You never listen to me. You believe everything they say, but you never hear what I got to say. Once a parent sides with one child, the other feels rejected or less love, which deepens the rivalry. Now, see, at that point, when that child says that, it's like, okay, wait a minute, hold up. No, that's not true. That's not true. And then you begin to explain to that child, because if you don't, what they're feeling is nesting. It's nesting within their heart, within their mind, within their inner being. Because if you don't respond and make it right, then they feel that they're right about what you just said, and they're not important to you like the other sibling. You got to approach it right then, because if you don't, their little minds, they only see what they see and feel what they feel, and they have to go by what they feel until you come in and change it and explain it to them, and then they can be okay with it. Acting as a referee at all times. Parents step in to stop every argument or decide who's right and wrong. Kids learn to rely on parents instead of developing conflict resolutions skills themselves. Parents also become exalted and resentful because you're always trying to referee and come in, try to stop these arguments and whatever they going through, instead of like, okay, wait a minute, hold up, y'all, stop right now, stop that arguing, come in here, sit down, and let's talk. What started the argument? What happened? She took my blouse out the closet and I told her not to wear it, and she wore it anyway, and now it's dirty. First of all, did you ask, could you use her blouse or wear her blouse? Well, no. Why? That's hers, not yours. Would you want her? And these are conversations that you should have them, let them think about what they've done and how it affect them. If you did that to her, if she did that to you, then how would you feel? To let that child know that, or get them to understand why she's reacting the way she's reacting, or why he's reacting the way he's reacting. Don't just stop it. You go to your room, and just leave it like that. No. Whatever is going on, you hit it head on. You hit it head on, parents. Come on. I got 2 girls. Been there, done that. Sometimes I don't think I probably handled it right, and sometimes I did. I think I did. They may not think I did. But we learn as we go. And parents, we do make mistakes. I'm not going to say I never made any mistake. Yeah, I made some mistakes. And who knows, I might be paying for those mistakes now. Oh, well, what can I say? I've gone to mine and say, look, if there's anything that I said, didn't say, didn't do, forgive me. I am so sorry. Now I'm done with it. Anything that you feel that you have against me or whatever, and I'm not saying that it is, I'm just throwing this out there because some parent out there need to hear this. You need to hear this. Let them know if you feel there's something going on, some animosity or something going on between you and your child. Just say, look, if you can't tell me what I did, then let me put this out here. Whatever I did or didn't do, whatever I said or didn't say, forgive me. Because if I don't know, how can I correct it? Or if I didn't know, how could I correct it? But whatever it is, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years behind, forgive me. Let's move forward. Now, if they can't move forward from that, oh well. You did what you were supposed to do. You ask for forgiveness. Now, if they don't forgive you, if they don't want to talk about it, if they don't want, come on. You did your part. Above your pay grade, now it's your prayer grade. Let God deal with it. Let God deal with it. He's the one. Unequal expectations or attention. When small differences, even with small differences, he's responsible. He's the responsible one. She's the creative one. Can make children feel compared or labeled. Okay, so you're responsible. Oh, but you're creative. So you don't have a creative bone in your body and you're not responsible. You just creative. Do you think that make them feel good? No, you need to sit down and explain that. The difference. There's a legitimate reason that they're different, but it's not for you to express or separate or make it a difference or comparison. You don't want that. Or to label. No, you don't put labels on your children. Not a label. Now you can talk about being responsible or being creative, but not as a label. No, he's the creative one. That's a label. He's the responsible one. That's a label. So this child that's creative, oh, you're saying I'm not responsible, I'm not capable for being of being responsible. The other one, oh, so you're saying that I'm not creative, I can't do, I'm not capable of doing things or creating anything. You don't want that. No. Explain why this one is responsible and that one is creative. When you explain that to the two of them, they can come together and the creative one will work with the responsible one and the responsible one can work with the creative one. So responsible can be creative and creative can be responsible because they come together. Why? Because you brought it out in the open and explain the difference and not label. Okay? I'm talking to someone out there. Come on. This is important because this is what's destroying our families. Rewarding negative behavior. The child who complains or fights the most often gets more attention, even if it's negative attention. It teaches that conflict is a way to get attention or have needs met. No. No. If you're always complaining and you're always starting fights, nah, that's another sit down. Because you don't want me to ignore how you feel, but you're gonna have to explain to me why you complain about everything. What are you complaining about now? What's the problem? Why are you complaining about that? What is going on? Maybe we can change it. You know, you got to be that strong lead, that strong head, whether you're a two-parent home family or one. You're in control. God has put you in control of those children. He's watching you. And if you don't understand it, if you don't know how to deal with it, go to him. Go to God. Go to him. Most of us, now I'm not saying nothing about therapists, like it's not, yeah, sometimes we may need a little therapy, but the best therapy is the God-given therapy. That's the best therapy you could have. Go to him. And I guarantee you, he'll make it right. You wake up one morning and everybody's flowing in the positive, with a positive mind, a positive flow. Happy. Happy, and you know it. Go to God with it. Emotional triangulation. Emotional triangulation. One child uses the parent as a go-between to express feelings about the other. Example, tell him I don't want to share a room anymore. Why would you go to the other sibling, and say, well, your brother came to me and said he don't want to share a room with you anymore? No, that's not your responsibility. That's that particular sibling's responsibility. Because in the first place, you need to ask them, well, why you don't want to share a room with your brother? Why? Now, regardless of whether he give you a good explanation, a crazy explanation, a wrong explanation, whatever the explanation is, that still doesn't mean you have to be the one to tell that sibling. No, you need to go tell him that. You need to go tell him that. And come to a positive, unified decision. Because we got this extra room, but I could use that extra room for myself instead of separating you and your brother. You need to have a good reason, and you need to be able to talk to him about it. And both of you come to a conclusion together. Together. Together, not separate. But no, you have some parents let children tell them what to do instead of them telling the children what to do. Come on. That's why things are the way they are in families. The lack of communication and the way they communicate. They feel they can communicate with you any kind of way. And think about it. If you, as a parent, you had to think about all the way back, coming up forward, how did you react when they said certain things or did certain things? What did they see you do? How did they see you react with your parent? You know, children are watching. They watch everything and they mimic everything that you do. And they will tell you, if you tell them, well, why you raise your voice at me, the mother or the father is telling the child, son or daughter, why you raising your, don't you dare raise your voice at me. Well, I heard you raise your voice at grandma or granddaddy. Duh. Come on. Don't get mad at them for something that you've done that they saw you do, and they're only mimicking what you've done. Yes, indeed. How parents can avoid the trap. Avoid judging who's right or wrong when possible. Encourage direct communication between siblings. Set clear rules about respect and problem solving. Give each child individual attention, not just in response to conflict. Model calm conflict resolution yourself. I just want you to to just listen to yourselves, listen to your children. This is so important because this is about, and it's hard for me to come off of this because I still have more to talk about, and I will be bringing it next Friday. Lord say the same, and as old folks say, the creek don't rise. I will be back with you. I want you to think about what I talked about today. If you need to meet with family, meet with family. If you need to meet with your children who are younger and still in the household, do that. Do that. Have a beautiful day, a safe day, a beautiful week. And I thank God for you all. And just remember, situations, circumstances, trauma, and drama may be above your pay, but it's not above your prayer grade. Love you.